Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of Amphitryon by Plautus. Amphitryon opens with god Mercury talking about the play's background, which comes as a prologue. The story goes like this. Amphitryon, who is a Theban, joins the army of Thebes, and Thebes is actually fighting against the Telobians. And when he leaves for the war, his wife Alcmena, who is the daughter of Electron, is pregnant with his child. And in his absence, what happens is Jupiter falls in love with Alcmena and he wants to come and have relationship with her. But he knows that Alcmena will never allow any other man even to come near her. So he disguises himself as Amphitryon and he comes and appears before Alcmena as her husband. And he also says that he has just returned from a battle with the Telebians. And Alcmena is not able to find out that he is not her husband. And she welcomes him and she allows him to be with her as a husband. And because Jupiter wants to enjoy Alcmena as long as possible, he orders the sun, moon and the stars to remain fixed so that the night he spends with Alcmena will be long enough for her to conceive a child, and it will be conceived in such a way that the child which is going to be born by Jupiter will be given birth at the same time as she is going to deliver her husband's child also. At the same time, Amitron's ship returns to Thebes, and Amitron's slave Sosia thinks how well his master Amphitryon handled the war with the Thelobians and how Amphitryon was awarded the golden cup of Petora as a token of the valor which he displayed in the battle. And he comes home and Sosia goes to make the house ready for his master to enter. But when he comes near the house, Mercury, the son of Jupiter, is guarding the house in the disguise of Sosia. And why he is doing this is, he does not want anyone to go and disturb his father Jupiter having a relationship with Alcmena. So now when Sosia comes and tries to enter, Mercury, who is disguised as Sosia, beats him. And Sosia is totally confused because he sees himself in front of him and he himself is being beaten by a person who is just like him. And since he is totally confused, he runs off to the ship. Now here what happens is Jupiter stays with Alcmena for a long time and then he tells her that he must return to his army because he has to give orders to the soldiers and maintain discipline. Immediately she is sad at the thought of his departure. So Jupiter gives her the golden cup of Petora that Amphitryon received as a token of merit in the war. This he actually steals from him without his knowledge. Now Sosia comes and tells Amphitryon that he found himself guarding the house and he was beaten by himself. Hearing all this, Amphitryon becomes very furious and he refuses to believe that Sosia saw himself guarding the house. So he goes home immediately, taking Sosia along with him. And by the time what happens is, before these people can arrive, Jupiter and Mercury had gone. And Alcmena is surprised to see her husband return in so short a time. And she expresses that openly. And she thinks that he has come back because he suspects her honesty. And he has come there to test her fidelity, whether to see whether after he has gone, whether she is with some other men. And Amphitryon is unable to understand when Alcmena says, how is that you came back in such a short time and you said that you're going back to the army. And he says, how can, like he expected her to receive him after a long time of battle. But when she says that I never expected you to come back in such a short time, he asks, how are you saying this? And she says, yes, in the night you were here with me. And just now you left and you're returning immediately. And hearing this, Amphitryon becomes angry and he says, no, I was not with you. But she says, no, you were with me, and when you left also, you gave me this golden cup of Petoria which you received for your valor in the war. And actually Jupiter had given to it, but she did not know that. And Amphitryonby says that you cannot have that cup because it is in my box and I have sealed it in my box. And he goes and he opens the chest in which he put the cup. But the cup is not there because the god has already stolen it from him to give it to Alcmena. Now Amphitryon accuses his wife of losing her honor, and he says that you were with some other man and you're telling me it was I who was with you. And Alcmena believes that it was definitely her husband who came earlier, and now she is hurt that he is charging her with all these accusations. So Amphitryon says, I will go and bring Naucratis, who is your late Alcmena's kinsman. And he says, I am going to bring him because he was with me in the ship all night. And he knows that I was in the ship and not in your place. And he says that if you do not prove your innocence, I will divorce you. And Alcmena is very upset on these charges which were heaped on her by Amphitryon, and she decides to leave the house. Now Jupiter, being a god, finds out what is all happening here, and he knows that he was the main reason for all this trouble, and now he prepares himself to help her. So he comes back to Alcmena in disguise as a husband, and he apologizes for talking bad about her honesty and virtue, and he pacifies her and makes her to stay there itself. Now Amphitryon, he comes and searches for Naucratis, but he is not able to find him, so he comes back home. And at that time, Jupiter appears in front of him as Amphitryon himself. Now both men look at each other and both of them are same, so there is a heated argument which goes on. And as they are arguing, they get the information that Alcmena is about to give birth to a child. Amphitryyon tries to leave the place, but Jupiter strikes him unconscious. And Jupiter goes and helps Alcmena to deliver 2 sons without any pain. And these 2 sons, one is born to Jupiter and other is born to her husband Amphitryyon. One child is so active and no one is able to hold him in the cot and to bathe him and all that. And the waiting women tell that within a few minutes of his birth, 2 large snakes entered the room, and the baby strangled both the 2 large snakes. And that time a voice of Jupiter calls out Alcmena and tells her that the lusty lad is actually Hercules, and that Hercules is born to him, and the other child is born to Amphitryyon. And after the waiting women leave, Jupiter himself appears to Amphitryon as Jupiter and tells her husband what happened, and he warns Amphitryon not to be harsh towards his wife because she is innocent, and another thing is she has produced a child by God. And on hearing this, Amphitryyon has no other choice and promises to obey all that the god commands, and the story ends here. It's a very beautiful story. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box. Like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe. Thank you.